The ultimatum King Felipe gave Princess Leonor. The room is quiet in a way only palaces know how to be quiet. Heavy doors, filtered light, the kind of stillness designed to make decisions feel permanent. It is not spoken in anger. It is not delivered as a threat. It arrives calmly, almost gently, carried by the weight of centuries rather than emotion. Across from her stands King Felipe VI. Not only a father, not primarily a father, he is the sovereign custodian of an institution older than any living memory. And before him stands Princess Leonor, heir to a crown that does not bend for affection. The ultimatum is not written. It never is. In constitutional monarchies, the most serious warnings are implied, not recorded. From the outside, the Spanish crown appears ceremonial, measured, stable, but inside, continuity is enforced with precision. This is the living thread of continuity. From the moment Leonor was proclaimed Princess of Asturias, her life stopped being entirely her own. Not dramatically, gradually, through protocols that seem small in isolation but, together, form a lattice of control. What she wears, where she appears, who may stand beside her, which gestures are permitted, and which are quietly forbidden. None of this is cruelty. It is architecture. Minute by minute, the crown is constructed in public view, and dismantled just as quickly if discipline fails. The ultimatum her father delivers does not mention punishment. It does not need to. It rests on a simple truth. The monarchy in Spain survives only as long as it appears inevitable, restrained, and larger than the individuals who serve it. 2 minutes in, the illusion breaks. The audience is often told that modern heirs are freer than their predecessors. More human, more relatable, but the reality is harsher. The modern heir is watched more closely than any before her. Every movement Leonor makes is now interpreted globally. In Washington, analysts read her appearances as signals of institutional stability. In London, comparisons are drawn instinctively, reflexively, to other royal successions. In Ottawa and Canberra, continuity is measured against the long memory of constitutional order. In Berlin, symbolism is examined with clinical detachment. Nothing is casual. The ultimatum exists because something, somewhere, approached a line. Not a scandal, not a rebellion, a deviation. By the 5th minute, the warning returns. This time, it lands differently. Because Leonor understands what it means. She has been trained to. From childhood, her education has not centered on privilege, but on containment. History lessons framed not as stories, but as consequences. Civics taught not as ideals, but as obligations. National identity is woven into these rituals. The crown does not ask whether she is ready. Readiness is assumed. Compliance is required. There are moments in every heir's life when the private self presses against the public role. When personal instinct threatens to surface. Those moments are where monarchies are lost. At 8 minutes, the silence deepens. There are things the palace never confirms. Decisions never explained. Absences never justified. Control is maintained by what is not said. What the ultimatum protects is not reputation. It protects predictability. Spain's recent history has taught the institution a brutal lesson. Legitimacy is fragile. Once doubt enters, it multiplies. So the crown tightens. The midpoint approaches with a subtle shift. Leonor's future is no longer discussed as a timeline. It becomes a test. Military training, public comportment, emotional distance carefully cultivated, not because she lacks feeling, but because feeling cannot be allowed to lead. Power is structural, not emotional. At 14 minutes, the point of no return hovers. The ultimatum has an unspoken second clause. If the heir cannot embody restraint, the institution will create distance. From influence, from visibility, from proximity to the core of power. This is not exile, it is insulation, and it works precisely because it never has to be enacted. By 19 minutes, the future enters the room. Not as prophecy, as probability. Spain's monarchy exists within a Europe increasingly skeptical of inherited authority. Every gesture Leonor makes will be weighed against republican alternatives. Every misstep amplified beyond its substance. International partners are watching not out of curiosity, but calculation. Stability matters. Continuity matters. The crown knows this. So does her father. The ultimatum, in its final form, is simple. Live as the institution requires. Or be defined by the limits it imposes. In the final moments, the warning is heard once more. This time, it is no longer directed only at Leonor. It echoes outward, a reminder that crowns are not inherited through blood alone, but through choices made before power is ever held. The room remains quiet. The doors remain closed. And history, as always, waits to see whether discipline will outlast desire.